Blessed morning to you, saints, you who fear the Lord. Let's read his word. He has much to teach us continually, right? We're going to read today Genesis chapter 33, verses 12 through 20. For reference, I'm reading from the New Living Translation.
Well, Esau said, "Let's be going. I will lead the way." But Jacob replied, "You can see, my lord, that some of the children are very young, and the flocks and herds have their young too. If they are driven too hard, even for one day, all the animals could die. Please, my lord, go ahead of your servant. We will follow slowly, at a pace that is comfortable for the livestock and the children. I will meet you at Seir." "All right," Esau said, "but at least let me assign some of my men to guide and protect you." Jacob responded, "That's not necessary. It's enough that you've received me warmly, my lord." So Esau turned around and started back to Seir that same day. Jacob, on the other hand, traveled on to Succoth. There he built himself a house and made shelters for his livestock. That is why the place was named Succoth, which means shelters. Later, having traveled all the way from Paddan Aram, Jacob arrived safely at the town of Shechem in the land of Canaan. There he set up camp outside the town. Jacob bought the plot of land where he camped from the family of Hamor, the father of Shechem, for 100 pieces of silver, and there he built an altar and named it Elohi Israel.
The Lord worked these things out really well between Jacob and Esau, and they had an amicable reunion as well as an amicable departure, potentially an amicable future. Jacob is seeing his prayers being answered. He was praying to God before, remember, asking him to essentially give him favor, to protect him. And God answered his prayers and, of course, did exceedingly abundantly beyond anything that Jacob could have thought to have asked for. And so now Jacob and Esau are back on good footing, on right footing, on good ground. Slowly but surely, Jacob is working his way back to the land from which he came. Remember, originally, under the guise of looking for a wife, that his mother had convinced his father to send him away to look for a wife because she knew that Esau was out to get him. Well, he goes and he does. He finds a wife. He finds two, actually, Rachel and Leah, has a family, and then begins this long journey back home to his homeland. And he arrives near where he was born and raised, same general vicinity, in this place, Shechem, in the land of Canaan. Essentially, he's setting up shop, setting up home, right? And he does this in this town of Shechem that's clearly ruled by Shechem's father, and he purchases this land and he begins to settle in. And the first thing he does is he makes a declaration, not just about who God is, but who he is and who God is to him. He sets up an altar. This is in verse 20. And there he built an altar and named it Elohi Israel, which means God. El means God, the God of Israel. Now, do you remember, Israel is not yet a nation. Israel is Jacob. Remember, Jacob wrestled with God, essentially, and he received a new name. And Jacob, who is now Israel, is finally coming into agreement with who God says he is and with who God is. It's no longer, God is no longer the God of his fathers. He is now the God of Israel. Israel, Jacob, is declaring God as his God. Isn't this how the Lord works for us? It's how he worked for me. I knew of God. I believed in God. I prayed to a God I believed in. But it would be years, a long journey, just like Jacob's, until I realized that he was mine, that he was my God. He is taking each of us on that journey, and I pray that if you haven't seen him yet as your God, that he shows himself to you strong today in the way that he wants to, and that you would open your eyes and you would see and you would receive and you would say, indeed, he is God and he is my God.